I'm Brian Kopp, and I have a 2019 Model S P100D with Ludicrous. But that's not my first Tesla. I started with a P85 in May 10th of 2014. It arrived in Dickinson. They delivered to my house. I literally backed it into my driveway. When I've got the P85, my charging options were campgrounds and my house. But it worked great. I used campgrounds all over the place, particularly Deadwood, South Dakota was a big one because Rapid City was the only place with one, and Rapid to Dickinson was a little more of a stretch than the P85 could do after a couple years. So Deadwood being up in the hills and 20 miles closer made all the difference to make it home before Spearfish got a Supercharger. So, and then a couple more owners started showing up in North Dakota. A guy in Fargo, Bill, actually started the North Dakota Tesla Owners group. Very shortly thereafter, Bill said, hey, do you want to be an admin? You're very active in the group. I said, absolutely. And then as we started getting more members, I would immediately chat with them and discuss where they were and what their situation was.
My name's Roland, and my wife's name is Amy. I'm an S owner, and my wife's, we got a tree last year. All right, so we're from Williston, 2 miles, about 2 hours from here. I just went with Google. I Googled everything because I never sat on one, never test drove one. I got it, and then it's just a learning thing on the day one. So I Googled it, hey, where I'm gonna do it, and then my delivery specialist showed me just follow the Tesla Supercharger, so which I followed. So there's no problem with that one, so I just put it down, and then we took our time. It's overkill to get the higher range, or mid-range, or down, because my daily commute is, 30 miles. It's more than enough.
I'm Camille Sherman. I have been a Tesla owner since March of 2020. Maybe it was my little COVID relief to get a Tesla. So I have a 2014 Performance S that I actually was fortunate enough to buy used from Brian Kopp, one of our longtime Dickinson Tesla advocates.
Jason Moser, Model 3 owner, 2018 June build, so I've had it about 2 years. North Dakota, Mandan, bought it, was a day one reservation holder kind of thing. Truly believed in the technology, even though there was no infrastructure. My principal use case was commuter. Was looking for that primarily, but also had the ability to drive it, Bismarck to Fargo with overnight stays. The fast charge infrastructure hasn't existed, but with, level 2 and the occasional 110 and the occasional welder plug in a rural shop, things got through.
Mini family, actually a giant family, where we could charge at each other's homes. So Spaceboat 1, which is the P85, it charged all over the state in people's homes. Bismarck, it charged in multiple places at homes. One of my friends up in Garrison, they don't have a Tesla, but they plan on it someday, so their electrician friend put the camper plug in their garage, so I charge at their house in their garage when I go visit them. Bonnie's Model S up in Minot, it spent the night with their Model S. I just drove over and they gave me their garage code and I charged in their garage and I walked back to my hotel. That's what charging was in North Dakota for 6 years.
TMC, Tesla Motor Club. I think that probably is where I had looked first, probably, was Tesla Motors Club. The North Dakota Facebook group is actually pretty active, mainly because it's me and Brian and Destiny.
Without the community, it literally would have been a non-functional car for anything other than within 75 miles of Dickinson. So the Bismarck folks, the Minot folks, Jamestown actually had a Ford dealership with two 32 amp, 240 volt chargers, so I used those a couple times. The Element Hotel in Fargo was key. They were the first public/private charging facility in North Dakota, and they definitely got their money's worth out of that. I have referred every person I've ever met to stay at the Element in Fargo. It's an amazing hotel. They were excited about it when I showed up. You make it work, you find the places. The community of owners is better for EV charging than all the other infrastructure combined. It's that lacking in North Dakota, but also shows how much dedication there is from the Tesla owners in North Dakota to charge anyone. Even people who were coming through with a plan ended up using Tesla owners' homes for non-Teslas to get through North Dakota. I took my trips through South Dakota, adding hundreds of miles to get to Minneapolis because it was quicker, as silly as that sounds. But because of the charging, I could blast through South Dakota, and North Dakota, it took forever to get anywhere.
Well, my name is Peggy O'Brien, and I am the general manager of Prairie Hills Mall. Brian gave me a ride in his first Tesla, and I was so impressed. And he, of course, had all the jargon that I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. And he was telling me about superchargers. So the more he spoke about it, the more I thought, well, why can't we have that in Dickinson? We need that. That would be beneficial to my property, which is Prairie Hills Mall, and to the city and Southwest North Dakota. So I was a little bold and wrote a letter to Tesla Corporation, just trying to put a bug in their ear and letting them know that I'm definitely available to visit about this. I think this is a great opportunity.
Peggy, of course, agreed it was the best location for it, but in all honesty, it really was. It's the only spot in Dickinson where so many amenities are available in a 30-second walk. And within 2 minutes, you have everything you would need here. So it just was the perfect location after traveling in my Tesla around the U.S. in different places and knowing locations I liked and knowing locations I didn't want to stop at. This would be a location that would be, well, great. No, I can stop and grab lunch. I've got 5 or 6 choices for lunch. If I don't and I just want a drink, there's 2 or 3 places to just go grab a drink. So it's just really handy. A grocery store literally across the street, and a parking lot, not even a street. So it really can't get any better for options for Tesla owners to have that 15 to 45 minute stop of exactly what they need.
And Brian was the squeaky wheel in terms of the technicals point of getting Tesla here. I was the squeaky wheel in terms of the economic value of getting Tesla here. And so we just really worked well together. We were incredibly annoying at times, I'm sure, but we were okay with that. We have what we wanted. Fast forward almost 4 years, and so here we are today. And as I was talking outside, which I did get a little choked up because it's a super memory for me, I grew up in a car family, and I just think of my dad, and if he was here, he would be so amazed and absolutely enthralled with Tesla and thrilled to see what has happened with automobiles through all the years, back to the days when he would tell me about cranking up the old Model Ts. So this is a super amazing thing for me, from not only an achievement as far as bringing the Tesla Superchargers to Dickinson and Prairie Hills Mall and Southwest North Dakota, but on an emotional level for me as well, knowing what the history is and where we are today. It's absolutely amazing. And I've gotten a lot smarter through this, because when I negotiated with Tesla, my point that I was a major sticking point was that we would be, Dickinson, Prairie Hills Mall would be the first to develop. What I didn't go for was that we would be the first to be activated. So we were the first developed, but we weren't the first activated. So I'm smarter now. I had a lot of fun dealing with Tesla. I don't know that they would say the same thing, but I did have a lot of fun.
It's going to be huge with these superchargers. I had constant comments at car shows constantly about I would get one, but not using it to travel just doesn't work. I don't want to have a car that can't travel. Where now, for the majority of North Dakotans, that fear is gone. So it just changes the game completely. And being the last dead zone is bad, but at the same time, we got version 3, so it's really nice. After making a trip from Dickinson to Minnesota and back and logging 600 miles in one day, and doing 99.5% of those miles in North Dakota was awesome. After having never been able to do that in less than 2 days, because level 2 is all there was. And I did those trips multiple times to get to Minneapolis and Indiana, and other places, I used the car as the car it was supposed to be, and I did not have another car. I went completely in, full dive on the first try, and now it's just so nice that we can travel and be like a normal car.
I've taken it out on the highway a little ways, but I'm very excited for the chargers. Today's our Dickinson charging day, so thanks for letting me be part of the Tesla family. It is a lot of fun. Thanks.
People traveling from the east, and today we had people even coming from the west. And literally Monday, that wasn't a possibility. But now Friday, Saturday, it is. So that's pretty cool. It's here, right? It's here now. The US, continental US is done. Trans-Canada is done. What's missing? A huge population now has the option of legitimate EV usage.
We want to invite everyone to Western North Dakota, and especially Dickinson and Prairie Hills Mall. There is so much for you to do and to see, and we are literally 2 blocks off of the interstate for you to sit and charge your car. But don't just sit in your car. Get out, walk around, enjoy a coffee, enjoy a lunch, go get some snacks at Cashwise, cruise through Prairie Hills Mall.
And 2 blocks on the other side of the interstate, you can visit a dinosaur museum. We're about 35 miles from Theodore Roosevelt National Park, so you can drive through there after charging up in Dickinson.
And if you need information about Theodore Roosevelt National Park and Medora, stop in the mall. We have a kiosk that has been set up by the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation that is full of information for you. There's just so much for you to do, and we are very happy to be your host.